Hello, my friends and family. We are back for a revolutionary blackout. This is my live. We got Zoya. She will be join us here soon. We got to make up for yesterday. Hope you guys probably saw my message I posted earlier. I tweeted about it earlier on YouTube. I'm I'm very frustrated. I put a lot of research and time into my shows because we cover foreign policy. Me and Zoya, we come with a lot of receipts, and just like that, our stream where we was debunking the Western narrative on the Busha massacre has been censored, has been taken down. Man, Margaret Kimberly said herself on our show, and I agree with her. The war propaganda that we see right now, worst war propaganda I've seen in my lifetime. And now the people who cheer on this free liberal democracy, they are champions of censorship. Now, what does that say about your side? What does that say about your narrative that you need to censor YouTube channels we only have 15,000 subscribers. That video probably maybe only we got a few thousand views, if that. I saw Jackson and Haas, they was banned on Twitch for talking about Ukraine as well. And they actually sent this insane message. Jimmy covered this on his show. And make sure how the stream, guys. Leave some chats. I already see friends in the show here. Make sure the audio and visual everything's good. Let me know how everything's going. But one of my favorite political writers, easily, is Caitlin Johnstone. Love her work. Easily, probably one of my favorite writers. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. So luckily, I'm very happy that she tweeted this out because this is my message in frustration. So the stream still exists, by the way. You can find the stream on my Twitch, SocialistMMA Twitch. You can find it on there. In the replays, I need to post it because eventually Twitch gets rid of the replays. I'm gonna post some more clips on that stream. I'm still behind. I posted a few clips from the outsider view with me and Josana. Making clips is very hard, especially when we gotta make these shows. I always fall behind, but on that stream in particular, I gotta make sure that we put this content out there. I'm about to, excuse me, I'm talking to this guy on Rumble tomorrow. So we're supposed to be joining Rumble. And after we do that, because I'm meeting with him literally tomorrow morning, I'll be on Rumble. Hopefully that works out. If he said they may put us on the recommendation page as well, that would be great for us. And YouTube will always be obviously something that we broadcast on, but I'm like done with it. I'm done with it. Like, we effectively been demonetized too because YouTube still haven't paid us. I ain't like talking about this shit, but man, YouTube is for the birds, man. They probably about censor this stream too, so fuck it. I'm on my Twitch as well. We about to be on Rumble. I need to connect my computer to Rockfin so we can draw on there because the censorship is insane. It's insane. So yeah, I'm probably to put the video on Rumble. That what Ayla said. Please put the Bucha video on Rumble. It's very important info. And Zoya gonna join me later on the stream, I believe, as well. Zoya is really well read. That's why I bring her on this show. She teaches me a lot. She's an expert in debunking war propaganda, and she's specifically an expert in Ukraine, Russia, because she was born in the USSR. She lived in Ukraine. I think she's Ukrainian, right? Zoya is a beast. Didi is too. Big shout out to Didi and Zoya. She will join us later today. You guys see the title of the video. I haven't forgot. We're gonna talk about Sweden and Finland. Like, it's insane what's going on. Like, people, like, we have the Western society melting down and wanting to start World War III, and people are still like tweeting about celebrities and shit. People are still like just talking about normal everyday shit. People just going about their everyday life, like we're not in an insane Cold War where people want this shit to escalate. So Finland and Sweden, they want this shit to escalate, and we're gonna get to this very soon. They have 2 women prime ministers, and correct me if I'm make someone make sure my audio's okay. Hopefully it's okay now. I'm gonna try to fix it. So they have the first 2 women prime ministers in Sweden and Finland, I believe. I think that's the first ones that they have, but they are on this issue. They're being psychopathic. They're putting Sweden and Finland. They're putting everyone at risk because Russia was like hardline no, and we all know why. We covered this on the show. This is a direct violation of the Minsk Agreement and what the West has promised, that NATO will not expand eastward. Now you're gonna expand on Sweden and Finland. You're gonna expand right next to Russia. Some more escalation when Russia's saying this is the hard line. But anyway, I'm gonna get to that. Very soon. Like I'm not intimidated. I'm not gonna change my coverage. Like if they just take us off YouTube, I guess we're gonna be off YouTube. We got a mailing list now. So if we get taken off YouTube, you guys gotta have to follow us on Rofkin or something. I don't even know, because I don't see myself stop. I'm not gonna stop debunking Western talking points. So this is Caitlin Johnstone. Love her work, love her writing. This is what she said. She quote tweeted me here. This is the notification content creators are receiving from YouTube, which is owned by Google. Silicon Valley platforms are becoming increasingly open about silencing and demonetizing content which disagrees with the official imperial line. So this is the corporate merging with the state. So we got to follow the Western state media apparatus and their talking points. So let's dive into this. Sorry, I gotta have my tea, guys. Look at this insane letter. And I was talking to CJ and Sabby about this as well. I saw Jamie cover this. Due to the war in Ukraine, we will pause monetization on content that exploits, diminishes, or condones the war. Please note, we have already been enforcing on claims related to the war in Ukraine that violated existing policies. For instance, the dangerous or derogatory content policy prohibits monetizing content that incites violence or denies tragic events. This update is meant to clarify, and in some cases, expand our publisher guidance as it relates to this conflict. This pause includes, now this is when it gets really fucking crazy. Now this whole thing is ridiculous, right? Because who is the arbiter of the truth here? And I see hypocrisies here because the West is doing exactly what they were saying here. You had people that are saying they're using this conflict to engage and go and fight a war with Russia. I think that was Adam Schiff who was saying that. You got people calling for nuclear war. So they are the one condoning the war. But look at it, this next part is insane. And this is what really gonna fuck our channel up. This pause includes, but is not limited to, claims that imply victims are responsible for their own tragedy or similar incidents of victim blaming, such as claims that Ukraine is committing genocides or attacking its own civilians. Do you guys see how crazy it is? Victim blaming? They're saying that the state of Ukraine would be the victim. No, the worst thing you can do, and this is why we're trying to find the truth on the Bucha massacre, the most dishonor you can do to the dead is to use their death as a false flag in order to push your political agenda. What's more disgusting than that? We want to find the truth. We want to see investigations, which the West is blocking. We documented in our stream last night, me and Zoya, we did a few more streams as well that they didn't pull down, that documented war crimes that the Ukrainian military are committing on their own people. Think about the implication that has been said here. So when the Ukrainians, and me and Zoya showed the receipts, maybe I can pull a few more up because the stream that we did yesterday was censored. We showed you guys this, and they censored our stream. We gave you guys the evidence of the war crimes, and them tying people to poles, stripping them down, whipping them, including small children, small girls as well. We showed documented evidence of them committing war crimes, including shooting Russian soldiers in the kneecaps, watch them bleed out, executing POWs, prisoners of war. But according to this guideline policy, if we call that out, we are victim blaming, because apparently the Ukrainian state is a victim. Not, and the funny thing is, not all the Ukrainians, only the Nazis, because the Russians, like the ethnic Russians who are being tied to poles and being beaten by the Nazi Azov battalion, apparently they're not the victims. Apparently they're not Ukrainian, because look at the message again. Let me pull it up. This message is insane. We are living in a fascist state. I'm going to read this last paragraph again. But not limited to claims that imply victims are responsible for their own tragedy or similar instances of victim blaming, such as claims that Ukraine is committing genocide. Pause. Those do not add up. Do you guys see it? Do you guys see how different of a tone those imply? And it starts out by saying you cannot blame the victims for their own tragedy. Now, don't accuse the state of committing a tragedy against their own people, which we did, which got us pulled. And they about to demonetize our shit. Well, we already demonetized effectively because they ain't paid us. Which is why I keep telling you, you got please support us on Patreon. They will not pay us. It's a long story, man. They will not pay us. And now they pull it on streams. We only got 15,000 subscribers. The algorithm is suppressing us. They're censoring our content because they want me to do clickbait shit, I guess. They want me to do fucking celebrity videos, call out videos, all the other deeply unserious shit that you see from TYT, David Pacman, David Doe, Human Support, all these like fucking deeply unserious bullshit videos. Oh, my Marjorie Taylor Greene, who took Cross. They want us to do that. If me and Zoya come on and debunk war talking points, they will pull off fucking stream. Now, with that said, we have my friend. I don't know. Hopefully, you're ready. My friend, Zoya's love, Zoya's life. I've been waiting for you. I've been screaming to the camera, waiting for Zoya to join us because they censored the shit out of us, my friend.
Yes, I can't believe it. 3 weeks of research, these bastards.
We literally was joking about it on stream because I knew I fucked up. I knew I did because remember I said, because I literally said what really happened at the Butcher Massacre. And I remember when I made that title of the video, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't put that shit in the title. But I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm not about to censor myself. I'm a real one. And that's when keeping it real goes wrong because I should have trust my instincts. I should have went with a more conservative title.
Yeah, next video, why Biden is my BFF.
Next video, Putin is a war criminal. And I just go over the crimes of the United States.
Dude, you'll be trending. You're going to be on CNN.
Jesus fucking Christ. Now, like, because luckily, we just now about got on Rumble. And I promise you guys, go to Rumble. I've been checking it out. It's much better than YouTube. You're not getting fed bullshit algorithm stuff that you get on YouTube. You get notifications. I watch all my friends' show on there because I'm starting to look into it. This is like literally the last week. Fucking done with YouTube. Obviously, y'all motherfuckers like it, so we still be broadcasting here. But like, I'm promoting Rumble. Like that's what I'm gonna be tweeting out. That's what I'm gonna be trying to drive everyone to.
Some friends were saying Odyssey is good too.
Yeah, I heard Odyssey as well. We about to go everywhere because this is ridiculous. They are CJ. He had like 2 streams that got pulled too. That he was doing that they pulled live.
Wow,
it's so crazy. And this is not what you do if you are in the right. If you are in the right, this is not what you do. They had to come out to anti-war voices. They had to censor Scott Ritter. They had to pour our streams. They had to ban Jackson the Haas on Twitch. Because we are explaining what this war is really about. The Western media and the propaganda campaign have been trying to pretend this war is because Putin is a random madman who decided to plunge the world into chaos. This war is an extension of U.S. aggression and the full spectrum dominance that them and their allies has been implementing in order to stave off the decline of their empire, because they see the rise of China, they see another alternative, especially with China dominating the international markets, other countries in Africa, other developing nations, a lot of people in the global South, in South America, are starting to look at China, starting to reject the United States. So the only way to continue empire as they know it is to pump up drastic military budgets, which they use to justify the new Cold War. NATO is literally just a weapon selling front. We're about getting to Sweden and Finland, by the way. Sweden is the largest exporter of weapons, one of the largest exporters of weapons in Europe. You guys know that? There are a lot of people who a lot of social democrats, they like to put Sweden on a pedestal. Sweden is not as innocent like you motherfuckers think they are. The genocide in Yemen? I told you about to get their ass today, man. Guess who been giving the Saudi coalition weapons? Sweden. They're not good guys, man. And everyone's want to be a puppet of the West so they can accomplish their full spectrum dominance. China been killing the game. Countries all over the world breaking with the U.S. So the West launches this Hail Mary war to sacrificing Ukraine. It's ridiculous. This is what the West is doing because they're panicking. Neoliberalism has failed. It is continuing to fail, and people are starting to realize it. Workers are starting to organize. Our economy, we are in late-stage capitalism that cannot sustain itself. Capitalism is a failed system that crashes every 4 to 7 years. So you have to continue to expand these wars, keep people distracted from that fact, push culture wars. Our economy, we literally have a usury economy. Our economy is boosted by the prison and military-industrial complex, and they even admit it. I've explained multiple times, when you talk to conservatives, when you talk to these big military and police budget defenders, when you push them to justify their shit and you really hammer every single issue, when they are on their last leg in order to defend our giant military budgets, where they say, oh, well, what about the jobs? What about the jobs? Because they use the military and they use our expanding police force as an inefficient jobs program. So our economy is ran on usury and debt. It's boosted by the prison and military industrial complex and fixed with bullshit Wall Street nonsense that means nothing for the regular people. And capitalism cannot sustain itself without slavery or without disaster. That's why whenever disaster strikes, like the pandemic, they make record profits. Big Pharma making record profits in the pandemic. Billionaires have increased their fortune many times because that's how capitalism works. You benefit during the crash that is expected every 4 to 8 years. And then when disaster strike, that is when capitalists increase their wealth. I'm upset, man, because my stream pulls. Zoe, do you want to add anything? I've been talking a lot. You want to add anything?
No, but you're doing great. I'm pretty upset myself. That was a lot of research, and we went through it step by step. Laid it all out, made the case, and we weren't even going extreme. We were nuanced, presented evidence. That's journalism.
It was fact-based. Like, we had receipts. That's why they couldn't.
That was a mistake. We did facts. Oh no.
Man, the U.S. military-industrial complex, they need this propaganda, and they done with this whole freedom of exchange of the internet shit. And liberals are cheering for this. They cheering for the censorship. Like, they are cheering for people being smeared as Russian state media on Twitter. They love that shit. They love this crackdown on the free press. They love this new merging of corporate media and state. Because I can't stress this enough. Our empire is panicking. That is what this war is about. This is a long-standing conflict that the West been implementing against Russia and China to implement full spectrum dominance. And Ukraine in this escalation, which is why they continue to expand NATO, breaking all promises and agreements so they can get this conflict they've been looking for. And at the end of the day, they don't care how many people die. They don't even care about winning. It's about looting the treasury. You got to cover these issues correctly. Most people don't. This is about enriching the friends and families and the weapon defense contractors. Lloyd Austin literally came from weapon defense. NATO is a weapon defense manufacturing front. So why do you think Sweden went again there? Because they were the largest exporters of weapons in Europe. The U.S. don't care if fuck it they win. They don't care about Ukrainian people. The U.S. Now we talking about it. When have they ever won a major war? Other than tiny countries like Grenada, Panama, it literally had to set the partition of Korea. It was defeated in Vietnam. And the only thing it achieved in countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and Syria was destruction. They achieved genocide and destruction. They did not accomplish a military goal. Think about it. The only thing they did was extract resources and committed destructions using their weapons. The United States military do not win wars. The United States is not in the business of spreading humanitarianism. Anyone who believes this is a great country that worth defending in any way, shape, or form, the Western chauvinists, who we've been pretty much blacklisted by. Let me tell you guys this. The United States has been at war. How old are we as a country? We're like 245 years old. 225 years. 225 years out of 245. There's only been 20 years of peace in American history. Do you guys know that? On top of all the genocides. On top of all the economic warfare. But you guys want me to have Putin derangement syndrome? Now you guys see why they pulling our streams. Now you guys see it, right? Let me show you guys this. I think this is a good time to introduce this part. We didn't get to the main topic here soon, guys. I'm fucking mad. So I'm ripping our state like I usually. I told you my stream. I'll just yell about the state. They're openly admitting about the failure of the United States and what this economy is really about. So and they just say the quiet part out loud all the time. This came out yesterday. The unintended consequence of student debt relief. Will young Americans volunteer for armed forces in adequate numbers if we don't threaten them with debt, lifetime debt? Remember, I told you guys, this is a usury economy, a militaristic police state. Colin Powell himself said, if you're a person of color, you're black, you're brown, the best way to escape the chains of poverty is joining the police and the military. And thing is, he's not even wrong. I'm just telling you, this is who our state is. You're going to be in debt or you're going to be a war criminal. Pick your poison. Here's another one. And we're just shocked. Me and my mutuals on Twitter. We're just shocked that they just be saying it. But people still fall for the nonsense. Look, Biden defense budget squeeze. More money for welfare state means less for the Pentagon. They just say it, guys.
It's amazing how they even weaponize words. You know, welfare is a word about well-being. It's a positive word, and having a welfare state is actually a positive thing. That's what a lot of Scandinavian countries are. But it's been propagandized into thinking that it's something bad. It's some sort of drain of resources. That it's wrong to take care of your citizens.
That the capitalism has rotted people's brains. Like thinking the idea of welfare is a negative thing, that we're gonna take care of the poorest people in our society. Remember that tweet I showed you with that unhinged capitalist when she was like, "Food doesn't grow on trees." Like, this is capitalist brain rot. I don't know if I shared that with you or CJ, but that's capitalist brain rot. And then another thing she said in the tweet that didn't get as much attention because of that obvious like brain rot that she committed. What does that mean when you hear capitalists say, and she said it, but this is a common belief: live within your means. So instead of putting a spotlight on our ruling class, the capitalists, the managerial class, stealing wages and stealing the labor value of people. They say that's not a problem. The problem is you gotta live within the means that the capitalists steal your wages, right? The wages that they set, the starvation wage that they set for you, you gotta live within that means. So if you live under the poverty rate, which is already a joke in this country, if you're a single mom with 2 kids, they say if you make over $22,000 a year, you're out of poverty. That's a joke no matter where you live. That's how capitalists keep that number low. It's the culture of low expectations. So then Biden and them can say, oh man, we cut poverty by giving people only like a $1,000, $2,000 check. That's when the whole child tax credit thing was going on. We debunked that in real time, right? So the poverty rate is already ridiculous, but the capitalists will say, you got to live within your means. If you're making starvation wages, you got to live a starvation lifestyle. It's really a deplorable ideology. And now, this is why you see, because now capitalists are posting their L's, like you saw there. This is why they had to ban Marxism in schools. The same way you seen we've been banned on YouTube, right? Because they can't debunk the arguments that we are committing, that debunking their nonsense on Bucha and on the whole Ukraine NATO narrative as a whole. So they got to pull our shit. The same way you got Marxist, the United States, they got pull Marxists and ban teaching Marxism in schools. The same way the right wing is banning and censoring Black authors for talking about race, right? They don't want you to talk about critical race theory because critical race theory is an analysis of our system and how it enables white supremacy and steals our wealth. The funny thing is, a lot of people are using this and they try to say, oh, critical race theory is divisive. The Democrats, they bastardize everything, but literally, do you guys know critical race theory literally says we need to stop placing the onus on individual white people? We need to focus on the system. We need to focus on Wall Street. We need to focus on the prison industrial complex. We need to focus on the military industrial complex. We need to focus on the system instead of focus on culture war shit. So it's funny when people say, oh, that's just divisive stuff. No, it's literally the exact opposite. It's literally saying no point of blaming little Timmy for being racist. We need to look at the system. Now, if Timmy supports the system, then yeah, he's racist. We can't. They won't allow anyone to explain this. They won't allow Black Marxists to explain our ideology because they can't debunk it. And the same people, the right-wing culture warriors, who pretend that they are for free speech, and the right-wingers who they pretend they are anti-censorship, they are dead quiet because there are Black authors that are being censored all over this country because they have the audacity of speaking about being Black in America. So do you guys see how the Marxists left? The RBN left? We are the only ones who are consistent on this. The right-wing populists you guys think are for free speech, they're not. They're really fucking not. Because they're silent when socialists are censored. Motherfuckers think Elon Musk will save them on Twitter.
Oh,
the dudes that say we can coup whoever we want. You guys really think he's gonna stop socialists and anti-imperialists from being censored online? So dumb. But Zoe, you got anything you want to add? I guess we gotta get to the stories because now I'm just ranting. You want to add anything? We can move on.
It's just disturbing. I mean, we already knew it was happening. How many times did you cover on this channel all the censorship? Louis Camp was on here. All these people whose shows got pulled, and every day that this network is still up, I'm like, okay, good.
We made it another day. I'm honestly surprised.
This network is still up. I'm like,
yeah, I'm surprised we made it as long as we have. To be honest, I'm surprised we made it as long as we have. So let's get into this next story. This is the main story of the stream, right? I had to go live talk about this today. So we've been talking about the conflict and we've been putting everything into context because once you put everything into context, you realize how absolutely batshit insane that the West are being. They're pretty much calling for World War III. They're calling for nuclear war. They are calling turning Ukraine to like a new Afghanistan where their lives will be forever embroiled in warfare. Just because just because they don't want a neutral Ukraine and they want to expand NATO. Are we clear about what this is about? We continue to look into this. Nothing has changed. Russia wants a neutral Ukraine and stopping the expansion of NATO. And I come from a perspective as a leftist. I am open about this, right? So if you're a leftist, why the fuck will you be against any of those asks? NATO has been an enemy of black colonized people and socialists and communists all over the world for ever since its inception. It's been made to counter the USSR, had no mandate since then, so it's been an arm of white colonial power since then. It makes no sense for anyone, if you are left of center, let alone a black Marxist, a black leftist, to be supporting NATO. So I never cheer for war. I wish there was another alternative, but as me and Zoe break down, this is nothing but the West's fault. So I don't want to see like Ukrainians die. I don't want to see Russia invade, but this is because the West, they couldn't help themselves, and it's been a strategy to expand and continue this war, right? And the West, like the U.S. and its allies, are waging this propaganda war in order to justify their insane position. Now that you guys understand what's really on the table. Now listen to what Sweden and Finland is saying. I'm gonna play this video and then we're gonna dive more into it, because Finland and Sweden is trying to pretend this war is something that is not, and they are doing it for corrupt reasons. Because they are pretending like Russia has this ambition to conquest over Europe. And that is not true. No matter what, and I've been watching corporate media and how they've been trying to pretend that Russia, they like Putin first stop is Ukraine, then they go into Europe. That has been like a common talking point I've been seeing when I've been doing my Oppo research. That it has no basis in reality. This is a mission to destroy the Nazis in Ukraine, the Azov Battalion, and to stop the expansion of NATO, which was promised in the Minsk agreement, and the West promised Russia that NATO would not expand past Berlin. Are we clear? But everyone in the West, in order to justify weapons to Ukraine, is trying to pretend that Russia is trying to take over the world like Hitler. And I'm dead serious. This is what they're saying. Let's dive into what Sweden and Finland is doing. Because now the Western allies, a lot of EU members, like Sweden and Finland, they're being pressured. They're being pressured. And Sweden, being the corrupt arms dealer state that it is more than happy to go along with it. Now, let's watch. I think this is the Prime Minister of Finland here. Let me pull the video up here.
Everything changed when Russia invaded Ukraine. I think people's mindset in Finland, also in Sweden, changed and shifted very dramatically because of Russia's actions. And this is very clear. And that caused need for process in Finland to have a discussion about our own security choices. Also discussion about NATO membership that we are having right now. We are giving today to the Parliament the paper which will analyze different options for Finland in the future for our security, and we will have the discussions within our Parliament. And I also want to give to the Parliament and all the political groups in Parliament and all the parties the platform to have this discussion that we could build a consensus. And this is very important for Finland when it comes to security and also foreign policies, to have as wide consensus as possible, because we do have a big right next door neighbor, Russia, which acts like this. So we need to have a consensus, we need to have a view on the future, and we are using this time to analyze and also building common views on the future when it comes to security. I won't give any kind of timetable when we will make our decisions, but I think it will happen quite fast. Within weeks, not within months, we will have the discussion, and we have also have this process for a while now. And I think all the parties, all the parliamentary groups, government, and also the president will have the possibility to make the decisions within upcoming weeks.
Now, for those who are not caught up to speed on this, I'm going to explain to you guys why this is absolutely insane. And now I'm going to get to another article as well that showed Finland and Sweden working together on this. So the argument that Finland and Sweden is using for joining NATO is because they say they want additional security. Pause. They are members of the EU. Do you guys know that as members of the EU, you are granted security in case of you being invaded? That's a giant lie by omission that when I seen all the corporate media covering this, they never mentioned this. Democracy Now! Is the only place I see mention this. Democracy Now! Did surprisingly good coverage on this. The message that comes from the Swedish and Finland and these two progressive leaders, women leaders that are in charge that want to lead to war. They want to start World War III. Because Russia responds to that, they like nuclear options on the table if you guys do this, because this is insane. Which I disagree with as well. To be 100% clear. But our stance is you guys are driving Russia into a corner with this nonsense. So as an EU state, Sweden and Finland already have security guarantees. But Finland and Sweden is pretending that because of Russian aggression, they are helpless and they need to join NATO, in order to starve off Russian aggression. Why would they do this? Because they know the line in the sand that Russia keep putting is expansion of NATO. So this is corrupt coordination by the West, and Sweden and Finland and their leaders are complicit with this. And I'm going to continue to explain why this is. Before I move on to the next part, Zoe, do you have anything you want to add before I move on?
Well, just Finland's extreme racism. I just DM'd you an article. It's not long to look at it. Not the one in our private chat, but I DM'd it.
That's on Finland's racism?
I mean, it's from BBC, and just the headline alone is enough to make people understand Finland's deep.
All right, let's show this here. I think this is good. So this is what you wanted to share, right? Finland's Air Force quietly dropped swastika symbol, and I'm telling you, as a Black person, like we leftists in America, we already talk about like Finland and Sweden as this great social democracy countries with high standard of living, and I am willing to admit it's definitely an improvement over neoliberalism, and there are a lot of steps that we need to take in order to get to communism. A lot of social democracy reforms are needed in the meantime as we fight for revolution. But as a Black person, it's been told, don't go to Sweden, don't go to Finland. These are extremely white countries, just like Ukraine, that are extremely anti-Black. That's just something that you know as a Black man here in America. There are a few places you want to go, don't want to go. And those Scandinavian countries are a few of them because they're extremely, extremely racist. They're extremely like anti, like interracial, like breeding and mixing. That's something like in their culture. And to be fair, that's largely in I know for a damn fact Japanese culture as well. They're extremely against that as well. That's another place that like y'all motherfuckers who like anime, y'all your mind not going to Japan. That place is extremely fucking racist. And I'm saying that because I was friends with this guy. He was the vice president of the Japanese fraternity. I went to a Japanese party. I talked to him. He was pretty honest. And he was just trying to explain his culture. And he was like, yeah, I would personally never not date anyone who's not Asian. And he's like, I'm not racist. It's just, and he explained like the culture. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I hear you, bro. I hear you. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. But you see Finland Air Force quietly dropped swastika symbol. Just showing you who they are, right? So I'm gonna, let's see, what I leave off here. Okay, let me show you this article. Because this article get into more detail. So this is the reasoning, and I want to break it down so you guys can understand the situation. And then as I explain to you why it's nonsense, you guys will see how truly insane Sweden and Finland in the West is for pushing this shit. Now look at this. I remember the headlines that was made when and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. This is the first female prime minister of Sweden, first female prime minister of Finland. Both supposed to be very socially progressive. It was a sign of these countries continue to shift more to the left. Now look where they at. Now look at where they at.
Girl power.
Hey,
You know,
girls
it's
are
like
taking
Margaret Thatcher, right? Ilhan
Thatcher
Omar.
power.
Yeah.
They got big Thatcher energy. Big Thatcher energy. And Zoya, do you know this stat on top of your head? I think I got this right, but isn't most of this arm dealing CEOs women now? Maybe I should Google that real quick. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure that'd be easy to
I don't
find.
know. I try to avoid that kind of info, but they sure love to, apply identity politics in order to push horrible things. That's what they do. They're like, it's okay, a woman's doing it now. These are women dropped bombs, guys. We're woke. We're making progress.
Here it is. So I don't know that stat on top of my head, so I retract that stat. But I quickly cover this and I explain why the neoliberal military establishment they adjust with the time really well. At first, probably because of culture, they really did believe, like, no, we don't want no fucking woman as our leader. But then they learned in order to sell wars, you need to get people, you need to get minorities, black people, women, people like Margaret Thatcher. You get Sally Albright as the first woman Secretary of State, and she's insane. Hillary Clinton becomes Secretary of State, and she's insane. They learn
At the
how.
UN, Nick, at the UN, you covered this. How it was a black woman that
Yeah,
was delivering the speech on suspending Russia.
here it is. Here's the stat. Here's the stat. Look at that. Look at this crazy shit. CEOs of the 4 of the 5 biggest defense contractors are women. Girl power. This is the result of white feminism. No, let me say this. Sorry. Let me correct that. They're the result of white bourgeoisie feminism. I do think that's an important distinction. I think it is. White bourgeoisie feminism.
But this is what they always do. They take just movements like women were fighting for equal rights, which they still don't have. They don't have equal pay. They don't have anything that actually matters. And then Rockefeller started funding the movement, and they co-opted it. And they said that they had 2 problems. One, they couldn't tax half the population, and 2, they couldn't get to the kids. You can look it up, guys.
Damn, man. Damn. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything interesting to read. I think I found a few interesting tidbits in this article. Let's dive into it. So they just give you some basic background information, and what they're saying makes no sense. And I could play the video from the Democracy Now, because Democracy Now actually have really good coverage on this. Democracy Now is like very liberal now. They've been like repeating Russia, anti-Russia propaganda. They were Russia gators, but they surprisingly did get good coverage on this. I'm like, when I watched it, I was just curious on how they were going to cover it, and I was actually surprised because they brought on a Swedish anti-war activist. Now, despite the media and how they're going to cover this and what the leader just said, this is actually a very divisive issue in Sweden and Finland. And one of my sources has it. I'll pull it up here soon. But the polling on this in Finland, at least, is 50-50. And I think it's the same in Sweden. It's a very polarizing issue. And there's an anti-war left Sweden like, hell no, we don't want to join NATO. What the fuck? You know what that would lead to? But then when I looked into this in the anti-war activists, and once again, check out Democracy Now. I don't want to play it because I don't want to give them any reason to pause shit, right? Check out their video because the anti-war activist in Sweden explains it's been just like in the United States, it's been a nonstop propaganda war. And it's been you only get one side, and this is the side that girl power is pushing. The prime minister in Sweden, the prime minister in Finland. Oh, I pulled the wrong one. Both of them and their media apparatus have been putting a one-sided conversation on this. Only telling people we have to get in NATO because Russia is going to invade us. We got to get in NATO because, and this is the propaganda that the Sweden, once again, did not come from me. This comes from anti-war activists who's on the ground in Sweden, right? They get the same propaganda, but even despite that propaganda, there's still half of the country like, whoa, this is nuts. What you guys are saying, right? I'll pull this article up because this is Oh shit, I don't have save. But pretty much Russia. Oh, I can find it. But Russia pretty much like you guys are out of your fucking mind. Let me Google Russia. Let's see if I can find their response just so I can give you guys a source.
And for people who just don't know the history, I mean, Finland and Sweden were quietly collaborating with the Nazis. And they are deeply, deeply racist, white supremacist countries. And these are the countries that Ukraine identifies with. If you look at the history of Russia and Ukraine, the Scandinavian countries dominated a lot of Western Ukrainian societies. And that's who they think they really belong to, while the Russians are dirty Slavs. So this is about a global white supremacy movement. I don't want that to go unnoticed, because even
That's
after
exactly
the
what it
conflict
is.
is over, um, there's definitely going to be problems from global white supremacy on the rise.
That's exactly. I think you round the money there. I don't know if I should even watch this video, but this is Russia threatens to send nuclear weapons to Baltic region as Sweden and Finland weigh in on joining NATO. Now you gotta consider Russia's response. Now think about what Sweden and Finland is saying. You guys saw the video that I played. The Sweden Prime Minister is essentially saying the same thing. They're saying we need to join NATO because of security issues. And of course, the Western media apparatus is repeating this as fact. As fact. Yeah, of course Sweden and Finland would join NATO because they need to defend themselves from Russia. And then they never bring up the fact that they already get security insurances as a member of EU. Now, let's say your insane conspiracy theory that Putin want to take over Europe is true. And you're like, okay, we want to make sure we can defend our people, right? In this conflict because Russia is aggressive. And this is what the Swedish anti-war activists was arguing. What you guys doing is counterproductive. If you are trying to protect the people of Sweden and Finland from Russia aggression, all you have to do is stay the course. Because there have been no indication whatsoever that without Sweden or Finland joining NATO, that there would have been Russian aggression toward Finland and Sweden. So do you guys see how crazy this is? The West, Finland, and Sweden is pretending that Putin, for whatever reason, will just invade those states. In order to do that, they want to join NATO. But if they join NATO, that will provoke a Russian response. But the prime minister of Sweden and Finland are pretending they are doing this to keep their people safe. But in fact, this is the action that will put them in the most danger. This is the action that will put us closer to nuclear conflict. So great. And this is, and I've been watching, and that's why I was surprised Democracy Now! Actually did a good story on this. They actually did platform the anti-war activists, because I was doing my oppo research to prepare for this for you guys. Every single story, every single coverage I saw on this was repeating the fact that Sweden and Finland should join NATO as a duh. They would say stuff like, yeah, of course they would join NATO because Russia is an aggressive state, ignoring the fact that the United States have 800 military bases all over the world. Israel is bombing Syria. We'll cover that here very soon. Killed 5 civilians in Syria. Joe Biden is funding multiple genocides. The United States the United States military is increasing its military budget every year. Whenever Russia and China increased their military budget, there were stories that would come from the West where they say, what is this escalation? China's escalating. So you see those? Russia's escalating because they're increasing their military budget. Okay. If Russia and China escalates by increasing their military budget, what does that make the United States in their military budget basis? But they won't pretend. Go ahead.
It's okay when we do it. It's just wrong when other countries do it. America doesn't try to be consistent on anything. Invading Iraq was completely illegal. But hey, there's a imaginary threat of terrorism, even though they had no connection to 9/11. So it's perfectly fine to invade a smaller country, as they're saying with Ukraine right now. It's just wrong when other countries do it.
If you're not white, if you're not part of that Western alliance, they don't give a fuck. The alliance thing is more important because if you are a state that bows down to Western hegemony, they got your back. They just can justify doing more fucked up shit to your country if you're non-white. That's why this Ukraine shit is easy for them to pull off. They like, this is the easiest side we ever did in our life. We show you the poll where, even though you still have a large amount of Americans that still blaming corporate America for price gouging, 71%. Actually, I was reading a little bit more in the poll. It's a little bit misleading, but I think it's 71% of voters, right? I gotta reread it, but like 70% of voters blame Putin for the price increase, which we all know is ridiculous. It's literally corporate greed, because they making record amount of oil production. They're making record amount of profits. So there's literally no reason for the gas prices to be as high as it is. And the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong, this Zoya, we only export like 1% of Russian oil in this country. So if
it's a little more, it's a little more. And the thing is that it's a specific grade of oil, not oil. All oil is the same. So they actually need that Russian oil for a lot of machinery and things that they run. And Jen Psaki has been live at White House briefings calling it the Russian inflation, Russian price hikes.
Yeah, absolutely. So hope you guys see how ridiculous this is, but this is nothing new. We notice whenever like Marxists and communists, we try to be very careful when praising Sweden, Finland, these Scandinavian countries, because their wealth is built on exploitation. Sweden builds its wealth being an exporter of weapons. They continue to exploit the global south. That's how they built their wealth. And under a communist society, we want to end exploitation. We want to build, not exploit. We want to build, not to bomb. Now I'm being a little petty here because this shit upsets me. It's annoying to see Sweden and Finland become puppets of the West, but they always have been. Now I mentioned this earlier before, but I got the receipts, and there are many more. So we all know Sweden is one of the largest supporters of weapons in Europe, but they also are complicit in the war crimes in Yemen because they're selling weapons to the Saudi-led coalition. But then they want to wag their finger about Putin when you're one of the people that are complicit with one of the worst humanitarian crises of my lifetime. So, and this is another article that calling out Sweden. How can Sweden be a peace broker if it's also selling the arms that make the war in Yemen possible? These are the states that social democrats look up to. Now, I as an anti-capitalist, I can admit that a social democratic country is way preferable than neoliberalism, and some of the reforms are steps needed as we fight for the revolution. But the Scandinavian countries, as we know it, are trash. I want you guys to know that. And their existence is only possible due to exploitation. That's why the social democracy is never the goal. It could be a step, and then there's a lot of debate about that. When I say that, not everyone agrees on that. I want you guys to know that. There's some people that say, no, fuck that step, straight up revolution. And I'm sympathetic to that too. Just to give you guys both sides of the argument. But that is not the goal. They may have health care. They may have strong unions. They may have strong worker labor force. But it's due to exploitation. It's due to selling arms and being complicit with genocide and war crimes. I saw another chat that was saying how, like, I think Sweden helped the Nazis in World War II.
Yes.
Right? I don't know that much about it, so I limit my dialogue on that to that. I just see what someone else said, and Zoe agrees. I've seen it said before. I just can't break it down.
They were helping with transportation and supply lines because they quietly supported it. You know,
well, if you're neutral, and that's what they'll say, we was neutral during World War II, because I heard that's the official position. But if you're neutral during a Nazi takeover of Europe or any continent, if you're neutral during a Holocaust, what did that say? Kind of like Joy said, you kind of take a side, kind of.
Yeah, and plus it's just dishonest. They weren't actually neutral. They were just exploiting a neutral status in order to help funnel and hide wealth.
Well said. Well said. Like I know a bit about it. So I think we can move on to the next story. I think I kind of dig into um Sweden enough. I do also want to bring this up. I think this is important to cover. Um, while the West is making up false flags, and I'm sure, like once again, once we get all the information with the war, we see what really happened, right? But there's all this pulling derangement syndrome that's going on, right? Meanwhile, the West, Joe Biden and his allies are quite literally insane and committing genocides and targeting civilians. So all the accusations of Russian killing civilians are mostly unsubstantiated. But there's hard evidence and bodies that are being found in Yemen, that have been found in Palestine. And now you have Israel, who is joining the coalition. Well, they've been more hesitant, but they've been condemning, right? You got a lot of people in Israel that were protesting Russia. Meanwhile, they are literally bombing Syria, and they killed 5 civilians. This happened. I think it's last night. Time zones are weird, so I think it's technically last night, right? On a strike Thursday night. I always get confused whenever I read Syria shit because time zone. But I think it was last night that this happened. The second they use the word alleged. You see the cover that they still pull for these people. So here's the story. So Israel launched an airstrike at targeted sites near Damascus. So they even use the propaganda terms for them. They say targeted. So when they want to convince you that Russia is insane, they say Russia they don't have targeted operations. They're just aiming for civilians. This is what they say. Whenever there's an enemy in a state that we got to demonize, they say Russia is aiming for civilians. But when they literally kill civilians, I'm gonna get to that here very soon. But you see how it says targeted? It's small propaganda shit like that. Targeted what? So you tell me they targeted the civilians? 6 people died. 5 on civilian. Only 1 military person died. That now do the math. That's an over 80% civilian death rate. Targeted strike. You see how even when they are forced to report on this shit, they still do subtle propaganda? Go ahead, read an article about Russia and CNN. They will never use the word targeted. So here's the part that is important, right? The Scientific Studies and Research Center in Jamraya was last targeted by an alleged Israeli airstrike in February, according to the civilian news site. A Syrian soldier and 5 civilians were killed in that strike. So you have our allies that are killing civilians, aiming for civilians. Afghanistan, Biden is starving to the tunes of millions. You don't have Sweden and Finland saying, "Oh my God, Israel is bombing civilians. What about our security?" Joe Biden commits genocide. What about our security? It's only about Russia, right? So that's what's going on in Syria. That's the war crime that Israel is continuing to commit. So we can go. You have anything else you want to add, Zoya? We can get some comments. That's a quicker story.
Yeah, I mean, just more addressing the chat. Part of the reason that they have such good social economic policies in these Scandinavian countries is because they are uh, homogenous. And they are homogenous because they are white supremacists. So it's much easier to pass policies when you have a cohesive society. And just so you guys understand, Arizona is about the size of Germany. United States is a really big place, and a lot of people, obviously there's diversity and disagreement, and that's why it's tougher to get to unite people and get them all to see things the same way. They have different cultural values, different perspectives, like so they create these wedge issues like abortion, which people just won't budge on, and we have a very polarized and tribal society as a result. These countries don't, and they're significantly smaller.
And yeah, there was also another comment, and also I agree with this as well. No matter how you want to frame it, innocent civilians are being killed in Yemen and in Ukraine. But it's the neo-Nazis that are killing civilians. We documented this. Like Russia is asking for investigations to Bucha.
Yeah, and
Not giving
excuse
it.
me, but what about all the innocent civilians that were being killed in Russian-speaking regions
Yeah.
inside of Ukraine?
That's why I say I agree with it. That's why I say I agree with the comment, because there are civilians being killed by Ukraine, but not by the side you think. At least the neo-Nazis, they are targeting, and they've been bombing civilians, the ethnic-speaking Russians in Ukraine. They've been tying people to poles, whipping them. There have been reports of them shooting people fleeing. Someone said shit is going to be taken down. So I think the reason why they took it down, because we said a lot of bad shit last on mini streams, but the reason why I think we got taken down last night, because I literally put in the title, Bucha Massacre, what's true and what's not. So I think the algorithm picked up Bucha Massacre, and it was like, nope. Nope. Hell nah. So we talk about Ukraine, Russia all the time, but that title, and I even mentioned it to you, so I was like, man, I don't know, that title kind of spicy, but we see.
I was joking yesterday. I don't remember what I said, but that we should change it to something, like why I voted for Biden. Just off and then let it be a surprise. Oh man.
So let's end on a lighter story. We keep this stream a little shorter. We can't do 2 hours every night. Because this fourth night in a row for me streaming. Now we're gonna do this a lot. I think I got planned on Saturday. A stream I'm playing on Saturday. I'm bringing on I got a few guests I may bring on Saturday, so we see. Sabby will be going live on the RBN tomorrow. I love her shows that she do on the network. But so let's go on to a little bit lighter story. So a few people have been reporting on fuck this dude name again, Alex Walker, the guy who challenged Lauren Boebert. There've been many updates on the story, but it says a lot, and this is why I have to touch into this, because it also shows the story is important to cover, because it shows the messaging that is coming from the Democratic establishment, the neoliberals, towards the progressives, and I'll be honest, another reason why I'm covering this story, because it's another giant I told you so. Another giant I told you so. So let's watch these videos, because progressives, as I warned them by voting for Joe Biden, made clowns of themselves. Now the entire Washington establishment treat them like a joke. Now, if you guys don't believe me, watch the video. This is the worst campaign ad, the least appealing campaign ad I've ever seen. Right? So I'm gonna play this stream for you guys, and I'm gonna give you guys a reaction.
I love when people are like,
You have a moderate policy?
Oh, wait, sorry. Let me.
I love when people are like,
You have a moderate policy? You lost my vote.
oh, what vote was that? Was that the vote you were going to give to some Bernie wannabe whose overkill policies are unpopular with 75% of voters, just so you could feel good about yourself until they lose the general election, at which point you'll point your finger and blame someone else? That vote? Oh, honey, your vote got lost a long time ago. Democrats need to wake up. Jesus, in order to legislate, we have to win. Go to walkerforcolorado.com and stop complaining.
Woo!
I'm gonna give you a take on that, Zoya. But who is your target audience, sir? He's running against Lauren Boebert, right? And he somehow is sucking all the air out of the room, and now everyone's talking about how shitty he is. He's like a plant designed to make her win. There's like you running in a red area, and you like, I'm a Republican, but I'm gay. So somehow you guys vote for me instead of Republicans that you guys more closely align with. How does that make sense? Let alone the blatant lies he said in that. There's so much things to break down. But Zoe, I want to get you in here before I ramble too much. Do you have any initial reaction? And then we have an update video, another update video as well.
Oh, I didn't see the update video. I saw Ryan Knight post that one initially. But we have one party in this country, and all of these characters, it's just theater. They're all manufactured to trigger us, to get us, rooting against one side, against another one, always creating villains, just like they're doing with Putin, just like they did with Trump. And under Trump, people were begging for censorship. That's when it all started, when people are like, no, we need these big tech companies to start labeling things as misinformation. Please, and they were also involving Russia in that. They convince us to beg them to take our rights away. And it happens inch by inch. It's very disturbing.
That man, he's literally like Hillary Clinton, but with like gay mean girl energy. Like he only want to be like a TikTok star. That's how our electoral politics is. It's a joke. It's theater. Nothing to be taken seriously. That's why I said this is more of a light conversation. But also, it serves as an important "I told you so" moment, because this is not the only person that's repeating this. I showed you guys the Democratic operative who was saying, "Oh, you guys are just upset because you guys want a unicorn, right?" Then there was the other person who was saying, "Oh, the only reason you guys are playing because you guys are white people. You guys are white boys who just want your student loan debt canceled. Stop being brats." So I'm covering this for a reason, because I know you guys know this is the messaging. There is no taking over the Democratic Party. Ever since the project of taking over the Democratic Party, they have shifted to the right. Because the argument was, well, we joining this evil, militaristic, white supremacist party, but we're doing that so we can take it over and shift to the left. No, it's been the exact opposite. Look at this campaign ad. Look at the messaging. Now, you didn't see the follow-up video. Now, he did the follow-up video, and saying double down to say least, right? So this is his follow-up video. Let me fix my audio. He said baby's first canceled by the left flank. So you guys can see how insufferable this about to be. Let me God damn it, I keep forgetting to do this. Let me fix my audio and then we can play it.
There was a study that came out showing that centrists and Republicans align the same on values.
Yesterday, I got canceled for making the outrageous claim that ultra-progressive candidates can't win in blood red districts like mine, and that if you vote for one, you're throwing your vote away. Yeah. Every vote matters, but don't throw yours away on some ultra-liberal pipe dream who has no shot just to make yourself feel warm and fuzzy at night. In order to legislate, Democrats must win. And in order to win, we need to nominate candidates who represent the district and play smart with common sense policies that can win. Not some platform designed to placate your overwoke Twitter temper tantrum pipe dreams. And we need someone strong enough to stand up to the bullshit, including Lauren Boebert's bullshit, but also including the bullshit in our own party trying to tear down Democrats with a shot. TLDR, I'm not sorry, and I've got my eye on the only prize that matters, winning for all of us. Yesterday, I got...
So Democrats' message coming to 22 is shut the fuck up and accept the crumbs, you fucking brat. Now, if you vote for this is the lesson that we are learning after watching these silly videos. What does that say if you vote for a party who messages this? A lot of these people who continue to vote for Democrats, like David Schroeder, I'll feature his writing on the string that got pulled. I always say he does good work, but you guys are voting for this shit. So of course this will be their message. I almost don't even want to debunk what he said on substance because it's beneath me. But literally, Republicans are to the left of Joe Biden on healthcare, on criminal justice reform. So his premise is already blatantly wrong. He knows it wrong. So you know he's playing the role. Pretending that Medicare for all is not extremely popular. Saying that you can't win on an anti-capitalist message in a deep red state. And I'm not saying it will be easy, but think about his strategy. I am just like a Republican, the guy that you vote for. The only difference is you disagree with me on all the social issues. Now I got a better chance. That doesn't make sense. If you have policy that's just like a Republican, wouldn't they vote for someone who's closer on the culture war issues? That's why it doesn't make sense on face value for this. But I got one more clip to share with you. Right? Now this is Hillary Clinton, who is for some reason being spotlighted a lot. Now there's a lot of speculation on why that is. As Biden, his approval rating is 33%. 33%. His numbers are worse with younger people than it was with Trump at his point in his presidency, which is insane. Because I still remember, like, young people hate Trump. Trump was boosted by boomers and Gen X. Even among, like, younger Republicans, his support was lower than usual. If I remember right. Maybe I'll have to fact check that. But this is Hillary Clinton. And you see she's doing the same strategy. Let me turn the audio on. She's doing the same strategy as the other guy. So even though we're making fun of that clown, and you guys calling him out as the clown, we call him out as the clown because he is the main character, because he wanted to be a clown. He is not unique. I'm not just spotlighting a random clown. This is the message that is coming from the party. So think about the people who are telling you to vote for this year. Think about the amount of Stockholm syndrome you must have to vote for this, especially after you watch this clip with Hillary Clinton. So let me play this.
The things they say about, some of my favorite Democrats, people like Kamala Harris, who is out there speaking up and speaking out, and she's being attacked from the left. Enough. If you don't want to support Democrats, then go somewhere else. The things they
Then go somewhere else. They only saying that because Hillary Clinton know progressives, Bernie supporters, their bitch ass is going nowhere. Now, I can do nothing but laugh. People get mad. I saw progressives fuming at Alex. What's his name? I keep forgetting. He's so irrelevant. I keep forgetting the name. Alex Walker. Alex Walker. Progressive was fuming at Alex Walker. They were fuming at Hillary Clinton. But the reason why I'm covering this, you gotta understand, I was making this point to these motherfuckers before last election. I got into so many arguments with Bernie supporters who used to be in community with me, who canceled me. We broke each other off because they decided to vote for Jim Crow Joe. And they canceled me because I was saying, hell for the fuck no. You motherfuckers are crazy. Like the conversation I had with Vosh. Because I'm like, if you guys vote for these neoliberals as they go after and attack your policies, that is going to devalue your vote. They will have no reason to listen to you. Why would they even try to win your vote over if they know you're willing to vote for Jim Crow Joe and Kamala Harris? That is as bad as it gets. If you're willing to vote for that, they got you by the balls. So that's the biggest takeaway from this. That's why you see this talking point. Because I was right. And I'm never going to let the Bernie sycophants that got upset with me ever forget this. Because what we are seeing right now, I warned them. The same way you see Nina Turner being betrayed by the Progressive Caucus, the same way you see the squad sell people out, the same way Joe Biden is shifting further to the right, the reason why he refused to cancel student loan debt, the reason why he refused to get a public option, the reason why he refused to increase the minimum wage is because you guys gave up all your power by saying you're going to vote for him. I remember even at the time, I told people, like, the strategy that you guys are doing is so dumb. There under no circumstance will I ever vote for Joe Biden. But I was telling some people, I'm like, bro, even if you're going to vote for Joe Biden, why not keep that shit a secret? There are people that will come out like, I'm going to cast my vote for Joe Biden. And they were posting that shit. They were coming out with their videos. All the big bread tubers came out with their videos explaining why they're going to vote for Joe Biden. And they was doing that in like June. It was like May and June, like 5 to 6 months before the election. And they're like, we got to vote for Joe Biden, guys. Why would you do that? Even if you're to my right and you are going to vote for Joe Biden, why not keep that shit a secret into the ballot box and then talk a ton of shit? If you don't support Medicare for all, if you don't support decreasing the military budget, if you don't guarantee climate action, we're not going to vote for you. We're not going to vote for you in the midterms. And then you can at least scare them. And then if you have Trump derangement syndrome, you can pull back at the last second. That makes more sense. And that's me talking about strategy. That's to my right. I will never vote for Joe Biden. But if you vote for Joe Biden, wouldn't it make sense to do that? At least lie to these motherfuckers. We don't have to play fair. Be like, I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden. Motherfuckers say he's going to veto Medicare for all. If you don't vote American for all, I mean, if you don't support American for all, I'm not gonna vote for you. And then let's say they call your bluff and you still scared of Trump, so you just cast the vote in secret. Why the fuck are you motherfuckers coming out in favor? And then they heard them motherfuckers. The Democratic Party heard them and was like, we got them. And what did they do? They shifted to the right. Now they're saying the message of 2022 is the message of the Alex Walker campaign. Shut the fuck up. You know you're going to vote for us anyway. That's why Hillary Clinton said, if you don't like us, go support someone else. She said that because she know Bernie Sanders and supporters are fucking cucks who will not. She is making a mockery and a fool of progressives. And it would be more hilarious if it wasn't tragic at the same time. So that's my last monologue. Zoya, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, the things in the system are so incredibly fundamentally broken that we're not going to be able to vote our way out of it. But you have to ask yourself, why are you so scared of Trump? Besides all the outrage porn that's on mainstream media, if you just stop watching that, why is Trump scarier to you than Biden or Bush or Obama? Factually speaking,
I will never understand.
but people are reacting emotionally, and this is all a psyop. It's not that simple. People are being manipulated on a hardcore level. First, you don't receive the education that you deserve as Americans, and then the system forces you to believe that it's you. Something's wrong with you. You can't achieve things. The onus is always put on you for everything that's wrong with the system. And that is how they get people into all of these service jobs. And while Hunter Biden is getting $30,000 per month paid for by the Secret Service, that's Hunter Biden, not Biden. At the same time, service workers that make $30,000 per year have to pay $5,000 to $10,000 in premiums or deductibles for healthcare. I mean, it's so outrageously out of balance. And meanwhile, you guys are fighting over who's your favorite billionaire, whether it's Trump or Biden or Elon Musk. Or
Elon Mustangs, man. God damn it.
None of them are your friends. All of them have the wealth that they have because they exploit you. They devour our planet that belongs to all of us collectively. They colonize other populations, which you just ignore. The only reason any of you are noticing Ukraine is because you notice what the media tells you to notice. That's just the reality. And you have to at least be honest enough to acknowledge your own ignorance on many subjects before you can start to re-examine things truthfully. And then we can talk about systemic change, which will absolutely require us getting into the streets.
I have one more story to cover. I almost forgot about this one. I have to cover this today because I think I saw someone said Savvy's off, but I think I gotta take tomorrow off because I'm in with the Rumble guy tomorrow, and Friday we got game night, so I use it on stream Friday night. But I'll be back on Saturday night. But I got one more story I gotta cover this. Funny enough, I saw the Justice Democrats tweet this video out, and then they tweet this video out like it was a good thing. They tweet this video. They just show how propagandized people are. Because as soon as they tweet this video, I'm like, oh my God, you guys just gave me something. Now, me and CJ were just talking about Cori Bush yesterday. And I told you guys, as someone who's an activist in Missouri, a lot of people knew Cori Bush and Ferguson. Cori Bush is probably the best example of why any attempt to take over the Democratic Party is full-heartedly. I know a lot of people may think Cori Bush is a joke now, but I'm telling you, if someone was involved in Ferguson protests, someone who's there, people know activists, Cori Bush was there. Cori Bush was a real activist that was pushing defund the police, that was really challenging Will and Lefty Clay. There's a reason why AOC didn't try and endorse her at the same time. So when Cori Bush turned out to be a disappointment, I'm like, bruh, everyone's gonna sell out. And I don't know if I'm misguided on that. Maybe I would love to hear arguments to the contrary. But everything that I've seen as someone in Missouri, someone who's been following the protests that are going on in St. Louis that Cori Bush helped organize, she was great, right? But then She got co-opted by the establishment in almost record time. Now we got thinking like, man, you been hard on Cori Bush. You guys being hard. Listen, look, she was on Stephen Colbert's show last night, and I don't know if you guys remember last year, RBN, we was one of the forefront covering the eviction moratorium drama and how everyone was getting it wrong. Because a lot of people was giving the squad credit, Cori Bush credit, Biden credit for the eviction moratorium. Meanwhile, at RBN, Frank Analysis was there calling him out as well. Jimmy covered it well. There was like a few of us that covered it right because we were saying, hold up. This stunt that you guys are pulling, you guys have no long-term plan. And I see some people saying, you guys remember this. This is the whole eviction moratorium stunt. Remember when the squad and Cori Bush came out and protested to halt the eviction moratorium? Even though the Supreme Court said it has to go through Congress and they're not going to allow Biden to extend it. So then they pretended the job was done. When they put music up, they were refusing to answer activists who had demands about their long-term strategy. I remember Frank from Frank Analysis was grilling them, and they didn't want to answer questions. So their action, they abandoned the action. And we covered this, and I'm trying to do a very quick summary of this before I show you guys the video. So when they left, they declared victory when Biden extended the eviction moratorium, right? But we knew the fight wasn't over, and activists knew the fight wasn't over. So while Cori Bush and LC went on vacation, activists started getting their head cracked by the police because they were still protesting. Because then the Supreme Court struck it down. Like, we all knew what happened. Biden continued to allow it to happen. They continue not to fight on that, and the squad has been dead silent ever since on the homelessness issue. That continued to get worse. Now, with that background, now I want to explain that just in case you guys don't remember. Listen to what Cori Bush said on Stephen Colbert last night, and just as Democrats tweeted this out like she killed it. Check this out. What are they missing? You guys see how egregious this is? Cori Bush is now using that stunt on the Capitol as a political victory. And then Stephen Colbert misled, I would say millions, but I don't know how many viewers he get. I'm assuming millions. He misled his millions of viewers and said that the eviction moratorium worked. And Cori Bush is more than happy to go along with it. Do you guys see why we gotta call these people out? Why independent media has to call these people out? Because they know Americans have a short memory. What Cori Bush did there is so fucking egregious because she's trying to rewrite history. She hopes that people like RBN, us who covered this accurately, who know the whole story, who's calling her out now, she's hoping we're suppressed so the truth don't get out there. And this is why I gave you guys that long intro before, because I want you guys to know what happened. That eviction moratorium that they said worked was struck down by the Supreme Court, and everyone knew that would happen, including the squad. And then they pretend that they was caught off guard, and we knew that it was going to be the case, and they continued not to put pressure on people to fight for the homeless, and the crisis continued to get worse. But sorry, Zoe, I won't get you in. I know I went for a while, but I definitely wanted to cover the last story. Zoe, what's your thoughts?
But this is why they're the most dangerous, because they misinform the public. Meanwhile, they're curbing the momentum of the movement. And they're pretending like we're winning, while where I live in Los Angeles, 3 homeless people die per day. And they're pretending the crisis is over. Meanwhile, the evictions continue. And now, people who watch this and never do any research will be like, oh, cool, we don't have to do anything. We won. This is why I keep telling you guys, you can't wait for heroes. You can't wait for anyone to come save you. Everybody that watches these streams, I know they're informative, but it can't stop there. You really have to take matters into your own hands and start organizing in your neighborhoods, whether it's just around growing your own food. And believe me, the food shortages are coming. Uh, do mutual aid. There's a million things that you could be doing. Since our stream got pulled from yesterday, earthday.org has a lot of actions that you could be taking. Earth Day is coming up. You could just do cleanups, and they have lots of other activities. But if you're waiting for someone else to come along and make things better for you, that is exactly how this has gone so bad, because everybody thinks it's on someone else to fix it. And it's not. It's on you.
Exactly. And this is why we call it the squad. We call it the progressive, because we want you guys to know, if you think these motherfuckers gonna save you, there's a lot of people who think that. It's very comforting to think all I have to do is just vote blue and they'll handle it. It's actually very stressful to think about organizing general strikes, having militant labor organizing, building mutual aid. That's more stressful than, just vote for more squad members and things be okay. Now, to show you guys how this is absolutely bullshit, Cori Bush being complicit with the liberal establishment, and guys, I do not take pleasure. You can find my old tweets. I ain't delete them. I don't delete tweets. Well, I was excited when Cori Bush won. So this is unbelievable that she went in front of millions of people, I'm assuming, to spread this bullshit propaganda that their protests at the eviction moratorium worked. And they only doing this because they got a campaign. And they brought a campaign on this shit that did not work. This was very public news. This is last December. Evictions on the rise after federal moratorium ends. Is Cori Bush in the streets about this? No. While she left and took vacation, remember in the beginning, she said, I couldn't take a vacation. They left and took a vacation while activists stayed on the Capitol Hill and got their ass beat by the cops. Remember, that's why I was like, what? When she was like, well, actually, the cops didn't say anything at first because you're a privileged, protected class. Guys, imagine if tenants and their activists just showed up on Capitol Hill with no permits. Imagine what would happen. But Cori Bush was trying to make it seem like she was a victim. Here it is, evictions on the rise a month after federal moratorium ends. Now, like Zoya said, do you guys know how dangerous these people are? That's why we got to call them out, because they serve empire just in a different way than Joe Manchin. Anyway, we're literally exactly 9 minutes in, so we're not gonna have a super long stream today. I think 9 minutes is good. I think tomorrow I'm gonna focus on getting. I literally gotta post clips because our Busha Massacre stream was censored. You can actually find. I think I got the link in the description, but if not, I'll post my Twitch. Because the Twitch videos, I think they save for 7 days. I think. So if you're watching now, you want to see the video that scared the shit out of YouTube that they censored. Here, I'm gonna post for you guys on Twitch. You guys already see it. All you gotta do is look at my video gallery. Look at my video gallery on Twitch. If you on that, damn it, I posted only on Twitch. Let's go. All destinations. So you can actually find the video they censored where we had all the receipts. We debunked the Busha massacre, among other things. Like we covered a lot actually. That's why it was so heartbreaking. It was a great stream. So I'm actually gonna post replays. I'm gonna try to post more in that stream than I usually do. Streams just because it's gone on YouTube. I just gotta be careful when I title the Busha massacre. The Busha massacre segment I'm gonna cut.
We should use Piglen, like Ucha Bay, Asakurmi. Nick, I sent you some stuff in the private chat. I don't know if you're up for going over it, but it's some interesting things.
We can do a quick read and then we can cover in depth more because it's been a long week for me and I'm about wrap. But so I'll read it. We can read the headline and you can give your take. U.S. God damn it, I hate these websites so much. U.S. personnel to be investigated for alleged war crimes in Afghanistan. Too bad the U.S. don't ever they undermine the court. the International Criminal Court. That's why whenever they were saying, "Oh, we gotta try Putin for war crimes," motherfucker, you're not even part of the International Criminal Court because you won't allow anyone to try war crimes in your own country. That's my initial reaction to the story. Zoe, you have anything you want to add? This is a very interesting headline to read.
I mean, I'm just waiting for the United States to be removed from the Human Rights Council.
Any day now. That's what Cuba said. Any day now, motherfuckers. Like the U.S. is right here.
And then we can go right next to the next one. I can move through them fast. We're just gonna bombard everybody with facts.
All right. Let's do some rapid fire headlines then. All right. I'm looking at our DMs. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up. Oh, jeez.
Don't look in the DM. Look in the private chat. This is what I kind of wanted to end on. If you really want to take the leftist position, this is the leftist position.
So negotiate, don't escalate, peace in Ukraine. And this is what I was saying as well. Like, if you're anti-war, there are people who think I'm anti-war, but only if it achieves my geopolitical purposes. So people be like, "Oh, you're just a Putin apologist because I don't want NATO to expand." That serves my interest, right? But even if stopping NATO expansion didn't serve my interest, if you're anti-war, you should be advocating for that because that would end the conflict. Neutralizing Ukraine would end the conflict, but they will say, "Well, you will get Putin what you want." Okay, being anti-war is not being anti-war only when you get what you want. You see how this issue has exposed so many people, man. So many people have been exposed by this. The last part said U.S. must help Ukraine-Russia negotiations by providing a clear articulation on what compromise the U.S. NATO will support. A ceasefire is urgently needed. Meanwhile, what the West is doing? Sweden and Finland are trying to join NATO. Every Western country under the United States influence is pledging weapons, not food and medicines, weapons, death and destruction, not peace. It's all about wars and bombs from the West. They're not builders. As you see here, this is the military budget we're talking about. China is builders. We are not. We are destroyers. Nick, why you guys such anti-West bias? Being pro-human gives you an anti-West bias. Are we clear? All right, is there another one?
Of course.
All right, this will be the last one. Hitler lived on the streets and practiced how to connect with citizens, and then went on to lead a life that got him in history books. What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, that white supremacy.
These motherfuckers want to apologize for Hitler so bad. And these motherfuckers they was quick to try to be like, "Yo, Putin, actually not as bad as Hitler." They want to apologize to that dude so bad. But anyway,
check out in our private chat.
Which one did I miss?
Above that one, like the very first one I sent you, Voltaire.net.
All right, let me put that one up. All right, let's read this headline real quick. This is also what we talk about all the time. Zoe had the receipts. I would love to have more time to read through this, but let's just read the headline here. CIA undermining and Nazifying Ukraine since 1953. So I'm just glad that we don't have that as the title of the video, or they will censor us. Because God forbid you repeat facts on the Ukraine crisis, or they will censor you. In the recent declassification of over 3,800 documents by the Central Intelligence Agency provide detailed proof that since 1953, the CIA operated two major programs intent on not only destabilizing Ukraine, but Nazifying it with followers of World War II Ukrainian Nazi leader Stefan Bandera. I got bookmarked. I'm gonna bookmark that. Bro, you gotta silence your phone.
Yeah, it's people. Yeah. It's like they know I'm live.
Yeah, it's driving the chat crazy. But anyway, I think that's it. I think we got a lot of breakdown on these shows, but we doing this at least 4 times a week.
that's a good
What?
place to end it on because it really, oh my God. They really tie in how, and this is our own government, American government declassifying documents. So you can't dismiss this as Putin propaganda or some sort of Russian misinformation. That the CIA has been doing exactly what the CIA has always done: color revolution, sending in, people to create extremist movements within countries so they can destabilize them and rob them blind. And there's a reason that Ukraine is so massive, full of resources, and yet is the poorest country in Europe. These CIA funded operations, I mean, we just saw right now what was happening in Pakistan. And another thing that I sent you in our private chat, but it's just really quick, I'll read it myself. And it's these kids holding up a sign talking about this latest coup in Pakistan. And the sign says, America did not have enough money to buy Imran Khan, so America bought our trash instead. So that's how America does this. It's doing this right now in other countries. That's why I blame America. Russia, it was forced into a corner that every expert said if they're put into that they will react like this. Ukraine is just being used to fight a proxy war. And it's a mistake to take either side in the conflict, really, because the only way this ends, like any war ends, is diplomacy. And as leftists, I think that's the only thing that we should be pushing for.
Absolutely. And as the crisis go on, the West side is so wrong. That's why they had no choice but to censor. God knows what this shit about to end. God knows. The channel may not last that much longer. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for watching. Please sign up for our Substack. I got a link in the description as well. Also, we've been effectively demonetized on YouTube. So please support us on Patreon. That's the best way to support the channel. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. It's Nick and Zoe. Also, follow Zoe on Twitter. Zoe is love. Zoe is also life. Have a good night, guys.